This podcast contains discussion of domestic violence and mental distress.
Mea Motu. She usually does her talking in the ring, but today she's telling us everything.
I was manipulated, I was controlled, and I lived my life in fear. And I had no guts to stand up to a man who abused me 24/7.
Mea is tough. She spent years fighting for her mental health and her physical safety.
Because I lived in fear and I allowed fear to control me and captivate me and destroy me, because I was so scared of speaking and talking and asking for help because I felt like I was a loser.
Her story is a reminder that even when you feel trapped in life, you can always find an escape.
Boxing gave me just like a safe outlet, you know. People think boxing's aggressive sport, but when you're angry and aggressive, you're not focused. And the moment you lose focus is the moment your opponent destroys you.
This conversation gets real, it gets a bit emotional, but there are so many lessons here that Mea would love to share with you.
It taught me life lessons, it taught me strength, it taught me courage, it taught me how to attack life outside the ring.
Mea, you're standing in the ring, you can hear the noise of the crowd, your heart's pounding, you're ready for a fight, you're waiting for the bell to ring. What's going through your head?
Let's go and fight, man. Do something I love. Yeah, to be honest, what's really going in my head is that I'm just excited. I just can't wait to let my hands go. And to be honest, a lot of people say this is crazy, but I'm like, man, I can't wait till she punches my head so I know what her power's like. I say that to myself. I'm like, ooh, yeah, you better hurry up and punch me.
Is that normal? Doesn't sound very normal.
No, it doesn't sound normal. But I just love it, hey. Like, boxing's like my scapegoat, and it just feels like when I'm in that ring, it's, you know, it's so noisy, it's so loud, but it's also silent for me. I like shut all the noise off, and I just feel like it's just me and my opponent, and all I want to focus on and hear is my coach's voice.
You were 13 years old when you started boxing. What did boxing give you that you couldn't get somewhere else?
Boxing gave me just like a safe outlet, you know. It gave me a place of just letting my anger out safely and how to control that anger. I really loved punching a bag, but also taking my ability to a whole nother level that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
Where did that anger come from?
My anger came from, as a kid, you know, leaving my hometown, which is Pukiporo, leaving that place I called home and coming to, you know, the big city, Auckland, and feeling drowned and lost and confused because it was something that I wasn't used to. I was used to living off the land, catching my own kai and living in the nature. And then coming to Auckland, everything was massive, big, you know, big buildings. It was just very different for me, and also speaking a lot more English because I grew up in a little town and, you know, I spoke reo Māori, and so not being able to speak my language, you know, that was tough, that was hard, so it made me very angry and aggressive because it was something, coming to Auckland was so big and so confusing. I didn't like it and I wasn't prepared for it either.
Anger and aggression became part of your adult life story as well. You were 17 years old when you met your boyfriend when you were at high school.
Yeah.
You got pregnant, you got married. What was the life that you thought you'd have together?
I thought it would be sweet and amazing and have home, living off the land, you know, with children. But, yeah, I was definitely wrong there. And, you know, I was such a lost girl. I thought I knew what love was at the time. I was determined to have a male in my life, and he was the first male that I trusted, and, you know, he was like the replacement for my dad. That's how I felt. I was just determined to have a male figure in my life because I had lost mine. You know, he walked out of us at 16, when I was 16 years old. So I was just determined to find love. You know, my dad was my best friend, And when he walked out, it just broke my heart. It shattered me.
And what kind of guy did this man turn out to be?
Oh, my ex-partner, he turned into a monster. A man that I really, at first was really sweet, loving and kind and gentle. As the years went on, he turned into, a narcissistic, real horrible man and turned to gang life, drugs and alcohol. And it was quite torturous. And never did I think that I'd be hurt, be mentally and physically hurt and destroyed and controlled by, because I was brought up in a loving, beautiful family. And then all of a sudden to be a victim of violence and, being hurt physically and mentally was tough and hard.
Kicked? Punched?
Kicked, punched, had a crowbar, been hit by a car, dragged by a car, tied to a tow rope, been stabbed. You tell me something I haven't been through. I don't wish it upon anyone, but I know people out there do get it.
Did you realise what was happening?
Oh, 100%. I knew what was going on.
You knew that you were losing control of your body and your safety.
More than my body and my safety, I lost my identity. I lost who I was because I was manipulated, I was controlled, and I lived my life in fear.
What was it like knowing that your kids were having to watch you go through that?
It was hard. It hurt. Broke my heart, and it also made me feel like, what kind of mother am I? What kind of mother have I become? I lived in fear, and I had no guts to stand up to a man who abused me 24/7.
Is that true? Is it true that you had no guts?
At the time, I felt like I didn't. I felt like I had no worth, no value. I just didn't want to be me.
Just no power, right? You're totally disempowered in your own life.
And I was just lost. I was this young woman, lost, confused, and didn't know how to pull herself out.
How often did you think about leaving, fantasize about leaving?
Every day. Every day I would try and leave. I would try and run away, but also I was scared to run away because I was scared I'd get found. I would be scared if he did find me or they found me, I would get tortured even more.
What kept you alive during those months and years?
My kids kept me alive, to be honest. My kids pulled me out of the gutter. When you see your daughter trying to save your life and put her life on the line, she didn't deserve that. So fighting for them and having a purpose is what kept me alive. I can still remember to this day the amount of times I tried to commit suicide, the amount of times I tried to self-harm myself, the amount of times I just wish he beat me to death. But then I knew I had to stay alive for my children because I didn't want to leave them behind with that. I didn't want my children to be raised in that environment. And that's what scared me the most.
Did you ever think my life could be different, even though it seemed probably completely impossible at that time? Was there a glimmer of hope that maybe one day things will turn around?
100%. I really, there's days that I'd be like, I can do this, I can turn this around, but how long is it going to take me to get there?
What would you say now to someone who's in that position? Not necessarily with family violence, but a position where they feel trapped and they don't have any other options.
Just slowly start talking. That's the only thing I can say. If you're stuck, go out there and get someone you trust and make sure that person's holding you. Because that's what I really needed. Because it's really hard. The biggest thing when you're stuck in that rut, you literally don't trust people because you feel like those people are only going to set you up. they're going to get you caught out. So that's why I refuse to trust people. But I started trusting one person, and that was my coach, Isaac Peach. I told him slowly, and he reassured me that he had my back and that he would do anything in his power to save me and help me.
So he became your ally.
Yeah, he became my ally, my best friend, my mate, the person that I hated men. I really hated men, and he was the person that changed it all for me. He refused to give up. He kept fighting, and he kept reassuring me that I was okay and that he's got my back.
Given how much violence that you experienced throughout your 20s, some people will go, what? But you've gone and chosen to become a boxer.
Yeah.
How do you respond to that?
For me, personally, I just take it as that's their problem. That's a them issue. You know, that's how they want to see it.
It works for you.
And it works for me. I see it in my own eyes. I see it in my own lens. It's my safe place. It's my outlet. You know, everyone has all different ways of dealing with their outlets. You know, this is what I enjoy. This is my outlet.
You became a world champ at the age of 33.
Yeah.
That wasn't on the bucket list, was it? It wasn't part of the plan.
No, that wasn't part of the plan at all. But that was part of my coach's plan. You know, he always said that I'll be a world champion. And I used to think, oh, he's like full of lies. But he wasn't. You know, he saw something that I didn't see. And he believed in me and backed me and supported me and kept pushing me. And I finally saw my greatness.
So how did that win change the way that you saw yourself?
Oh, at first that win was something that actually threw me back, to be honest. You know, everyone normally celebrates a win.
Yeah.
I struggled to celebrate that win. I just felt like, oh, it's just a belt. Is this all it feels like? I just didn't feel no purpose. I didn't feel any emotion towards it. It was just like, I felt disappointed. You know, I left that fight and I went home. I couldn't even stand looking at that belt. I left it in the boot. I left it in my car.
In the boot?
Yep, in the boot.
Overnight?
Overnight. I didn't even care about it. I just went straight to my room. And all 5 of my kids jumped in bed with me. And I started crying. Because it just felt like a weight that was pulling me down. And I wanted a purpose. I wanted something for that belt. Like I wanted it to, you know, I wanted to lead by example. I wanted it, you know, I was like feeling like I felt like this belt was meant to like, you know, give hope.
You wanted it to mean something
Yes.
more than just one title.
Just a title. You know, and it just felt like emptiness. So I couldn't connect with that belt. And it wasn't until like a couple of weeks later, like 2 weeks later, then I realized, I was like, wow, I'm all about children. I'm all about fighting for the next generation. You know, I'm really passionate about kids. Why can't I use that? Why can't I use my boxing skills and give hope to our kids? Because when I was a kid, I didn't have hope. I was so angry. I was so depressed. And so I wanted to use, you know, that world title and be like, okay, let's give hope to our kids.
And that's what you've done, right? You've chosen to use your life experience
Yes.
and your story to encourage and uplift others.
Yeah.
What has that meant to you, having the profile and the opportunity to do that across the country?
It really means a lot to my heart. When you feel like you can change a child's life, it's powerful. It's better than winning a world title.
Yeah.
There's no feeling better than seeing a child give you hugs and just see their beautiful face smile. That feels like winning a world title.
Given your background, you said you'd had a lot of barriers and walls that you put up. How did you learn to trust people and learn how to be open and vulnerable?
It took time, trust me, it took time. But it was boxing, you know, training. It really, just hearing the boys, like the boys from my team, they would always reassure me and be like, Mea, you're wonderful. Mea, you're beautiful. And I used to think, ooh, don't you ever say that to me. Like, I didn't like people acknowledging me and saying that I was beautiful. And I'd be like, oh, don't say that. And they kept telling me, no, you're good. And so that they gave me self-worth because I started believing it, because it's like, when someone just keeps poking you and poking you and poking you, it's like, leave me alone, but they don't stop. But it actually is a positive thing because they only see the best in you. And so we sometimes kind of have to just pull back and actually really listen, and they're acknowledging you, and take that acknowledgement.
What's your advice to someone who might be supporting a friend or a whānau member who's going through a tough time?
Don't give up. Keep fighting, keep pushing, because the more you keep being a nagger, the more they try push you away. But once they realise, they won't want you to leave, and you can change their life. Because if my coach didn't stop nagging me and bugging me, I would have just walked out. There were so many times I wanted to walk out, but he kept nagging. He kept checking on me. He kept saying, I'm here for you. I got you, bro. And it's just those little words and just waiting patiently for when I'm ready to come out.
Was there ever a time that someone spoke something into your life that made a massive difference to your well-being?
Yes. My coach, Isaac Peach.
What did he say?
He said, you're going to be the next world champion.
Wow.
And he kept constantly saying it. And he made sure that he told everyone around us and made sure that I could hear it.
So words are powerful, eh?
Oh, words are powerful. Definitely. When it's constantly, I refused to listen to him. I tried so hard to really push him out. I was like, get out of my face. Leave me alone. Just get lost. And he just wouldn't. And he just kept repeating it.
And it doesn't cost anything to encourage someone else. It doesn't cost anything to give a compliment or send a text.
No, it doesn't. It's free. And even though, because like especially for me, I'm a person who likes to push people away. And so when people would text me, I'd just ignore it. But I'd read it. But it was hitting me in here. And I held it. But it helped me get through.
The court system would use the word victim to describe you, given what you've been through. Do you see yourself as a victim? Do you see yourself as a survivor? What's the word that you'd use to describe yourself?
I don't like saying survivor. I don't like saying victim. I like to say I'm an overcomer, because I overcame that challenge. I overcame it. And that's, for me, that's more powerful.
People might look at you and say, wow, you're so strong now, you're so confident, you're out there, you're a great talker, but we're all a work in progress, right? So what are some of the things that you're working on in your own life or your own well-being journey at the moment?
So I go to counselling every Thursday.
Awesome.
My coach and his family were like, we think you need counselling, because I was still pulling myself down and I was still hurt by the trauma. Even though I was talking about it, it was still hurting me and destroying me. So I gave counselling a go. Man, best thing I've ever done.
Awesome.
I love it and I highly recommend it for everyone. I've even got my kids into counselling. Like I just started my 12-year-old. My daughter's got counselling. So it's the best thing I recommend.
What does self-care look like?
My self-care looks like for me is definitely going diving. But I'm that crazy woman who likes to jump in puddles, get all wet, and do roly-polies down the hill. That's my self-care. It's a bit different, but it's like, that's what I enjoyed as a kid. I loved being outside, getting wet, getting rough, getting rugged. And, what always made me happy and laugh was roly-polies. Come on. Surely you've done it as a kid.
Oh, totally.
And it made you happy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, there you go. So that's...
Haven't done one for a while, though. Maybe we should do one after this.
Yeah, because I still do it. I go roly-polies with my kids, wet grass, everything.
What do your kids think about what you've achieved over the last few years?
Oh, man, my kids, they're so proud. My son is my oldest boy. He's the one that really rocks me, because he's always just, Mum, it's okay. Mum, you're only human. Mum, you're allowed to feel like that. Mum, slow down. Just remember you're one person. You're our mum, you're our dad, and you're doing an amazing job.
And what is it like when you hear those words?
It's fulfilling for my heart, and I know that I'm doing an amazing job as a mother, but also as a human being.
One day when your career is over and you hang up your gloves,
Yeah.
what do you want your kids to see as your legacy?
The biggest thing is being an overcomer, definitely. And I say it to them all the time. I want them to be proud of me, not because of the boxing, but proud of me, of how I've connected with people. That's what I want my kids to remember me as. And, you know, my son said it perfectly. He said, you know, when I lost my fight to Ali Scottney at the beginning of the year, you know, my son sent me a message, and he was the first message I saw, and he said, Mum, you're our true champion. Because he goes, even when it looked like it was impossible, you made it look like it was possible for our people and for people like me. And so that I carry. That was like, wow, thank you, son. Even when I've made it, and I can show people I've made it to the top. And the stuff that people said that was impossible, I showed them and I proved everyone wrong. It was possible. Because I had so many self-doubts. People would tell me that, well, you're never going to make it. You're too old. And I had that a lot. But I wasn't too old. Look, I made it. You know, age is just a number. I'm not putting limits on myself. I refuse to put limits on myself. And I want people to know that there's no limit. I want our people to know that they can do it. You know, even when, you know, especially people that are like going through the abuse right now. I know heaps of people that are going through it right now. But I want them to know there is hope. I want them to see that, yes, oh, look, Mea Motu came out of it. I can come out of it.
You're showing so many New Zealanders that there is hope, even in dark times. Mea, thank you so much for sharing your story so generously with us.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.